Hey guys, just a reminder, my online course is Birth Story Academy, and you can enroll in it at birthstory.com. It's taught by me. You can be in your jammies. It's online. It's pre-recorded, and it has a ton of freebies and downloads. It's everything that you need to prepare for your hospital birth. So hope to see you in Birth Story Academy. Today I have Sasha from SashaMama and we are talking about non-toxic living. And she has carefully curated a proprietary blend of body oil that is amazing. And so today we sort of just dig into pregnancy necessary products, how important it is to become mega researchers and to avoid toxic ingredients and toxic products. And I hope that you will consider visiting SashaMamaWellness.com, using code BIRTHSTORY, and investing in yourself or a friend in her wellness kit or the incredible body oil that has come from 2 years of research with a chemist and is completely non-toxic. Thanks for listening. What does a contraction feel like? How do I know if I'm in labor? And what does a day of labor look like? Wait, is this normal? Hey, I'm Heidi. My best friends call me Hides. I'm a certified birth doula, host of this podcast, and author of Birth Story, an interactive pregnancy guidebook. I have supported hundreds of women through their labor and deliveries, and I believe every one of them and you deserves a microphone and a stage. So here we are. Listen each week to get answers to these tough questions. Birth Story, where we talk about pregnancy, labor, deliveries, where we tell our stories and share our feelings. And of course, chat about our favorite baby products and motherhood. And because I'm passionate about birth outcomes, you will hear from some of the top experts in labor and delivery. Whether you are pregnant, trying desperately to get pregnant, or you just love a good birth story, I hope you will stick around and be part of this birth story family. Hey, Sasha. Welcome to the Birth Story podcast. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you so much for being here. I know we met at a community event, and then you've had an opportunity to speak to my private doula clients, which was really special. And now I would like to share your knowledge about body oil and self-care with the Birth Story podcast audience. So thanks for being here. Let's dig right in, Sasha. Let's talk about body oil and how you got into body oil business. Like, how does one find themselves making a body oil for pregnancy?
Thank you for the introduction. Yes, it's so exciting. So I knew I kind of wanted to break this up into two different perspectives. So the first is from an entrepreneur's perspective, and then the second is from a consumer's perspective. So with the body oil, I knew that as an entrepreneur, the first thing you do is you look what's already out there, obviously, right? And so when I was looking, I, in my own journey, have been really trying to limit toxins on my body, in my house. And so a priority for me was safety of ingredients, sourcing, and also just to understand what the competitors already have out there. So I found some of the top body oils, and by top, I mean I look on Amazon and I look at what has thousands of purchases and thousands of reviews. And instead of looking at what people like, I immediately go to what they don't like. And what I found is a consistency in not liking the ingredients and not liking the texture. So for me, I knew that when I was going to make something, I have to make it from scratch. So yes, the Sasha Mama body oil is a proprietary blend. It's my own blend. And so everyone complained about different body oils or body butters being extremely greasy. You know, people want to be able to, when they're pregnant, quickly lather up their skin and then put on clothes and get out the door, or vice versa. They want to wind down, put on their pajamas and not have a bunch of grease stains on their pajamas. So for me, I knew that I would need to work directly with a chemist to help formulate the perfect body oil. And I'm biased, but you've tried it too. I think it's the perfect
Yeah.
body oil.
I do think it's the perfect body oil. And you guys, I'm not being paid to say that. Like
No.
there's no exchange of money happening for this like podcast episode. I feel like it's really important to be transparent about that. Like this is not an advertisement. This is like, and you guys can't see my hands right now, but it's 20 degrees in Charlotte, North Carolina as we're recording, and it's snowing and my hands were so dry and I just have the oil on them, but they're just nourished. They're not oily. It's unbelievable, really. Like I've just really never had anything like it. So I'm excited to share it with you. But Sasha, because I'm an entrepreneur also. So what, you went to like the bad Google reviews? Like did you just sort by like 1-star reviews and see what was people were complaining about?
I went straight for the negative comments.
That is brilliant, actually. So
I highly suggest doing that if you're looking for creating something. Find out what's wrong first and then figure out how to solve the issue.
yeah, and create a solution. Okay, well, while we're on solutions, one of the key questions for people coming to this podcast, and maybe they're newly pregnant and maybe they don't know much about pregnancy or pregnancy related products, like why would someone want a belly oil?
Yeah. So I'm glad you asked that. Well, there's many reasons. The first is that I actually wanted to point out that while this is very much a belly oil, I wanted to specifically name it body oil because stretch marks can happen anywhere. It could happen on your belly, your hips, your thighs, your breasts. But also because of the ingredients, and we'll dive into that in a moment, I wanted something that was truly for everywhere. Like you were saying, you're rubbing your hands. I put it on my cuticles. I put it at the ends of my hair and it doesn't make it greasy. It's truly like for every part of your body. And I wanted this to be for everyone. So not just pregnant, but also postpartum, and to really use it throughout as long as the body oil lasts, and then you could repurchase it. But to dive into the ingredients specifically, because as I was saying earlier, that is one of the most important things for me. What I was noticing in common body oils were 3 ingredients that everyone should avoid. And before I even kind of get into what you should avoid, I highly recommend anybody, pregnant or not pregnant, to download the EWG app, which is Environmental Working Group app. And the reason is they actually came out with a really interesting statistic. On average, women apply 168 chemicals to their skin each day, which comes from using about 12 products. That is wild when you think about that. And this is, makeup and whatnot. So if
our skin is the largest organ, right?
Exactly. And so when you think about if there's anyone in their life that is going to be extremely sensitive and Googling every second, what's safe, it's when you're pregnant. And so for me, this was an absolute priority. So definitely download that app. The second thing is that fragrances are endocrine disruptors. So that is a huge issue. And that is in a lot of really popular brands right now. Also, baby oil and mineral oil actually clogs pores and prevents the skin from being able to breathe and eliminate toxins. So that's a common ingredient also found in really big brands. And so those are kind of 2 main ones. And when I was formulating, and I went through about 12 different variations, it took me almost 2 years to formulate my blend. One of the ingredients that's also common, and the chemist that I was working with was like, this is a very common ingredient. It's called apricot kernel oil. And from anyone's perspective, you think, oh, apricot, of course, that should be great for my skin. But actually, just with a little bit of research, I found that there's traces of cyanide in apricot kernel oil, the processing. So I knew that this was just an absolute no-no. If there's even a little bit of insecurity or just not enough knowledge, I'm not willing to put this in my product. And so, those are the do nots of my product. And actually on my site, I have an entire section of, it's called the never ever list, things that we'll never have in any of our products. But yeah.
I was just going to say, well, I really kind of want to echo what you were saying about like all of a sudden in pregnancy, we become researchers. And I really wish that wasn't the case. Like, I really wish that we cared about our body as much as we care about our baby's developing body inside of us. And that prior to pregnancy, we would put just as much effort into like the foods we eat and the things that we drink. And again, our skin being our largest organ, what we expose our skin to and what we put on our skin. Like, but I will tell you, my dual clients, Sasha, they become like the ultimate researchers. And I'm like, okay, well, carry this forward, even when the baby's
Yes.
out of you. And I always say this thing. I'm like, listen, if raw sushi is not good for you when you're pregnant, then it's not good for you when you're not pregnant, you know? So if you eat it when you're not pregnant, you might as well just keep eating it when you're pregnant, right? Like the same thing, bad thing that would happen to you in pregnancy is the same bad thing that would happen to you like not pregnant. And that is the same thing for what we're talking about, you guys, with Sasha. The makeup you put on your face, the deodorant you put under your arms, the lotion you put on your legs, the body oil you put all over you, the chapstick or lipstick that you put on your lips. Like all of these things are not just good or bad for you when you are pregnant. This is good or bad for you all of the time. But I am glad that pregnancy tends to be this awakening for a lot of women and people who are pregnant to just have this, you know, just knowledge awakening of like, I really should be paying attention to this stuff. And hopefully it carries on. So yeah, I was like, there's me on my soapbox about how important this is. But the reason I wanted to have Sasha on is because I really do want to talk about these toxic ingredients versus the non-toxic ingredients that are used in Sasha Mama Wellness products, and specifically this proprietary body oil blend that I am loving so much. So yeah, so I want to hear a little bit more about working with a chemist and all of these iterations. So what was like a hard no for you? Like when were you like, ugh, no?
So it was a very fun process. So for me, again, I wanted to stand out, and texture was huge. Texture, and obviously I already talked about all the negatives, so let me uplift again. But I'm glad you brought up what you just said about non-toxic, because in my personal journey, I dealt with hormonal acne, inconsistent periods, and I've been able to regulate that through removing toxins. So definitely on the same side as you. So one of my favorite ingredients is the tamanu oil that's in our oil blend. And it's really great. There was actually a study done in French Polynesia. There's this process called proliferation, and under a microscope, they were looking at women's skin who used tamanu oil for 6 weeks, and they found that any wounds were able to heal and that new skin cells were being regenerated. So for me, when you think about the skin stretching as it does when you're pregnant, you want to be able to replenish and have new skin cells that emerge. Another two ingredients that are absolutely crucial are the cucumber and spearmint oil. So these are both antimicrobial and cooling. So one of my good friends, I gifted this to her when she was pregnant. It really helped with her nipples when they were cracking and they were really itchy and painful. So she said she just swore by that. And, you know, a lot of women do end up feeling itchiness and cracking, whether it's on their belly, their nipples, anywhere. So these two ingredients specifically are great. And then the other two that, because scent is important, right? And I was absolutely anti-fragrance, anti-perfume. So I wanted to have a natural scent. And that comes from geranium and rosehip. And if you've ever smelled a geranium flower, it is like the most gorgeous scent. It's rich in vitamins. And once again, it helps with the skin. It helps boost collagen, and it's rich in vitamin A and vitamin C. So those are kind of the main ingredients that I would say stand out. But again, all of the ingredients are organic, so you know that they're sourced well. There's sunflower seed oil, there's jojoba seed oil, spearmint, we have bitter orange and organic tea tree, sweet orange, vitamin E. So these are pretty common ingredients that you'll see. And together as a blend, it really just ended up working with the chemist. They were able to help me differentiate. Well, they did it, the percentages that was the perfect blend so that when you put it on your skin, it'll absorb well. And then you can put on your clothes and you're not going to be greasy after, because that is huge for me.
Yeah. And I will say, as a user of the product, there isn't one particular ingredient like spearmint that's like overwhelming, right? Like
No.
you put it on and, I'm going to smell my hand here, but I mean, I would go with this is fragrance free, even
Yeah.
though it has subtle notes in it of different things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anyone would know I was wearing a body oil. Like if I had,
Right.
even if I had just washed my hands and put it on. And you guys, I'm using this hand example today, which is hilarious because this is probably not where you're going to be using it. You're probably going to be using it on your belly and your nipples and, maybe on your face or your lips too. But I'm just so cold today. So, and my hands are cracking. So that's why I have it on my hands and it's quite nice. But yeah, it's very, very subtle and no grease at all. Sasha, you don't know this story, but I had actually put a different product on my hands first this morning. And because
Oh.
I keep the body oil next to my bed. So I've been using it before I go to sleep at night to just sort of like make my skin feel like glowy and just make me, I don't know why that's important to me before bed, but like just making me feel pretty and good about myself before I go to sleep. And this morning I put this other product on my hands that actually a friend had made for me. And it was just so greasy. I couldn't even it cured the dryness in my hands, but I literally could not go about my day. Like I was like, I can't pick up a piece of paper. So I ended up going and washing my hands, which made my hands even more dry. And then I went over to your oil. And I will say I've only applied it that one time.
Yeah.
And it's lasted all day. So how do you find in your like clinical trials and selling this, like how often do you recommend applying it in pregnancy?
I recommend applying it in the morning and then in the afternoon. And I've had a lot of testimonials which saw that their skin just looked brighter. I've had a few people that use it very at the start of their first trimester and throughout and didn't have any stretch marks. Again, stretch marks are genetic. I will always preface this, but it will absolutely give your skin that glow, nourish it, and really just help promote extra collagen and elasticity, which is great. And I do want to preface that before I actually agreed with the chemist, I did work directly with my dermatologist and my OBGYN just to give me the thumbs up on what they thought about the ingredients, because I have a good relationship with both of them. And I definitely wanted to make sure it was extra safe.
I appreciate that you went that extra mile, so that when people come to an episode like this or they see it where they can purchase it or they go to their website, one of the things that they want to know as these expert researchers in pregnancy is like, would an OBGYN approve of this? Would a dermatologist approve of this? And the answer is yes. And all of the ingredients are like magic. It really is. Glow is, I think, the exact word that I would use. Like, think like J-Lo in the like 1990s, early 2000s, and she had that perfume J-Lo glow, but she's always had this glow about her, and that is what this product reminds me of when I'm wearing it. So, but this is just one small product, you guys, in the Sasha Mama Wellness line. It is my favorite. That's why we started with it. But there's an entire kit. Just this week on Instagram, I did an unboxing of the entire kit because it's such an incredible gift to give to like pamper a mom at a baby shower or right after they've given birth or right before they give birth. Because we're so often thinking about the baby, it's nice to think about ourselves or to think about someone else who's pregnant. And so, Sasha, you have to go through your other products and what's in the kit and, what we can find at SashaMamaWellness.com.
Yeah. So the body oil is just one of the main magic goodies in the kit. And just a quick preface, I am a prenatal and postpartum yoga instructor. And the reason my entire business came about was because a postpartum mama came to me. She had a 8-week old newborn and a toddler. And she's like, "Oh my God, Sasha, there's nothing more that I enjoy than coming to your yoga class and then sitting in my car for a little bit and just being by myself. Like, I just feel like I'm really taking care of myself and pampering myself." And immediately my response was like, "Oh my God, I wish I could give you more." And then that car ride home, I just had this light bulb. I was like, well, maybe I could do something more. Maybe there's something great that I can give, or that, giftable for anyone. And so I looked what was out there, because obviously I'm not the creator of pregnancy and postpartum gifts, but what I saw wasn't solving a majority of what I've noticed were pregnancy and postpartum, I hate to say symptoms, but things that women experience, discomforts. And so I knew that I had to work directly with my pregnant and postpartum yogis in creating this kit. So literally, it wasn't just myself, but it was so many moms who helped me create this kit. I went every week after the yoga class and asked them all to fill out surveys. What are your biggest pain points? What do you wish you had more time for yourself for? And it narrowed down to kind of three main issues that they were facing. So the first, we kind of talked about stretch marks. So that's where the body oil came in, and also our silicone scar sheets, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Swelling. So swelling in the feet, swelling in the face, and then nausea and anxiety. And that's where our tea blend goes through. So just quickly to kind of break it up, the dry brush and the gua sha, so that's the stainless steel tool. And if you look at Heidi's video, she had it up and you were like, "Oh, I wonder, like, is this for fascia?" And so there's actually a few different use cases for it. And so the first you might have seen, it's very trendy on TikTok and Instagram, is that people will use it to sculpt their jawline. And actually, there's a trend right now going on about pregnancy nose. Have you seen this? Where
No.
women's noses will kind of like get a lot wider because there's a lot of extra blood vessels and blood flow happening. So their nose will get wider. And so one of the most interesting, and this is again, not everyone that's listening is going to necessarily experience, I have to preface that, but you can use the gua sha tool actually to help alleviate swelling in your face. And there's videos on our website where I show you a tutorial, and also in the kit, there's a pamphlet and there's directions as to how to actually do this. But another great use of the gua sha is actually for, yes, tight fascia, tight muscles, muscle recovery. If you have pain in your ligaments, in the sides of your hips, you can have your partner put some lotion on you and then use the gua sha. But then also it's actually good for mastitis. So if you have a clogged milk duct, you can put it right above your breast. And my friend actually told me this. I didn't even think of it when I had the product already launched, but she used it and used the oil and was able to unclog her milk duct. And so she didn't end up having a fever and had a good milk flow.
That makes so much sense to me as a doula. And then I probably bombed that unboxing then, because I'm like, what's
Oh my
this?
God, no.
I didn't know the word gua sha until just now. So now I know what that is. I would sculpt my neck with it. I think that that's amazing. But when I did the unboxing, I said I would have used this for acupressure and for fascia release, especially when I'm in laboring with someone and they have tightness in like one hip, or I feel like part of the pelvis or the glutes are not releasing, or if they're nauseous. And then I would use that tool for their acupressure points on their hands and their feet to help with a headache or help with nausea. So there's a lot of different uses for this tool. And it absolutely makes sense to use a little bit of the body oil and to use the gua sha to help release a clogged milk duct as well.
Yeah, no, it's great. There's so many uses. And then in terms of swelling, we have our dry brush, which is super common. My family is actually Ukrainian, so this is really common in the sauna culture. So you might actually see a lot of Also Ayurvedic, Nordic culture uses the dry brush, and we have vegan bristles for it. And so you always want to start at around the ankle area, and then you want to flush your lymph nodes. So your lymph nodes, once they are swollen, they'll retain excess water. So you want to flush them out. So you usually do that with an external source, hence the dry brush, hence the gua sha. So always brush up towards your heart. And again, this is both in the pamphlet and on our website, just in case this is like too much direction for if you're just listening in your car right now. And so it's a great exfoliant. And then we have our Sasha Mama compression socks. Those are you have combed cotton within them. So it's a little bit softer than your traditional compression sock. I'd say it's about a medium compression. So it's not so tight to the point where you're, gonna have rings around your legs, but you will still absolutely help with swelling and reduce blood clots. It's great if you are traveling or just want to wear them at home. They're super cozy, help with the feet. And then silicone scar sheets are great for C-section scars, but also to help with just locking in that moisture from the body oil. You can leave them on overnight. It's also just great for stretch marks. And then lastly is our tea blend. So it's caffeine free. It's organic. It's so delicious. It's has green cardamom, ginger, cinnamon, and rooibos, which is really delicious. And rooibos is kind of the ingredient that sticks out the most. It's rich in antioxidants, and it helps ease indigestion and heartburn, which is great for your first, second, third trimester. But it's also super rich in calcium and magnesium, which is great for bone health, and just overall stress release. So I put a lot of thought. Oh, and I have to mention, it comes in a cute recycled hemp bag, which has actually been used. It's been used for both diaper bags and bringing it to the hospital. It's a bit wider than your traditional like travel bag, so you can fit everything in the kit and more.
Yeah,
So,
it's really big and it's really cute. I just want to say about the tea. Okay.
Yeah.
I played soccer internationally in South Africa, where the rooibos is originated from, or one of the places rooibos is originated from. So I got this was just what you do in South Africa, right? You like have an afternoon tea with rooibos. The mixture that you have in this tea blend is on point. I have so much nausea, not pregnant, you guys, because I'm on Ozempic and I have had so much nausea, and I have been sipping on this tea every day, and it is lovely. And it is really, really helping settle my stomach, help with digestion. And I just haven't felt even as bloated since I started drinking it. It's really wonderful. I wanted to say, as a doula, every single curated, thoughtful item in this bag and in this kit is something that every doula uses. So I don't go to a birth without dry brushing, right? I try not to go to a birth without giving the mama some really warm tea or broth to sip on during the labor, and especially during the postpartum period also. I am just very appreciative of everything. And it was hard because when I got the kit too, I was like, I'm being really selfish by not giving this away. But I was like, I can just buy another one for my doula bag. So one for me, one for my clients, kind of thing. So I know, Sasha, you have your website, sashamamawellness.com. And you're doing a code for Birth Story listeners, code Birth Story for a percentage off. And then on Instagram, everyone can follow you at Sashamama_wellness too. So those are the best ways, right, Sasha, to connect with you. But I just cannot rave about you and your entrepreneurial, just to be sitting in a space with a pregnant person, pouring into them through yoga, and then taking it to the next step. Like, how could I serve them more? You have such a beautiful story for what brought you to doing this. So what else would you like to share about Sasha Mama Wellness before we jump off?
Yeah, well, thank you for saying those really kind words. I really feel like I found my purpose. I really do. I think I'm excited to be a mom one day. I'm not a mom yet, but working on it. And I just feel a lot of respect and passion for women and just allowing people to be educated and curious. I think that, non-toxic living is something I'm super curious about. And in terms of the future for Sasha Mama, I really see this brand going above and beyond pregnancy and postpartum. I want to continue to focus on hormone health and just making people feel empowered, making people feel their best. I when you go on my social media page, it's not just me selling, selling, selling. I don't like to be overly pushy. Obviously, yes, I want to be successful, but when you go to Sasha Mama Wellness Instagram page, you'll see it's just a lot of information because there's so much that I'm learning on this journey as I am picking out products and understanding where people are, either suffering and what they need. And I really can't express how much I love to make other people feel good. Like that is what I've learned through yoga. That is what I've learned through entrepreneurship. And I have a love for it. And I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. So I do love to meet new people. So even if you DM us on Instagram and just want to hang out and chat and talk about non-toxic living, I truly am always open to it. So yeah, I mean, follow along. We have a newsletter we send out each week. It kind of comes out with just different fun things, recipes, again, any sort of news article that I found out about non-toxic living or pregnancy, postpartum, or baby things. I am very much in love with this space and continuing to learn. So I hope that you all will join me.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sasha. And my takeaway from meeting you and going through this process with you of seeing you interact with pregnant people at a birthing community event, seeing you interact with my own private doula clients, like trying your products. The key takeaway for me is it's important. It is very important to not just jump on Amazon and blindly buy products based on number of sales and number of Google reviews. Like you will find yourself, like Sasha talked about, putting toxic chemicals, cyanide, onto your body, into your largest organ while you are pregnant. That is not something that we should be doing. And also, we should be supporting minority-owned female small businesses and helping them to grow. And so I hope everyone will go over to sashamamawellness.com and will use code BIRTHSTORY and buy something for yourself or buy something for your doula bag or buy something for a friend if there's an upcoming birth or baby shower that you're attending. Thanks for being here, Sasha.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Birth Story. My goal is you will walk away from each episode with a clear picture of how labor and delivery might go, and that you will feel empowered by the end of your pregnancy to speak up, plan and prepare for the birth you want, no matter what that looks like.